Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kyra, and today we're going to go over every favorite palette I have from every brand I own. There is a rule. I have to own 3 or more of that brand in terms of palettes. I have to own 3 or more palettes from that brand to pick out my favorite. So I got this idea from like Kelly Gooch, I believe. If I'm wrong, I am so sorry, but I'm fairly certain she did this once, and I really liked the idea. So let's get into it. I actually don't own that many palettes anymore because we did a declutter last week, which is awesome. So this video will not be as long as it would have if I still had all those palettes. So my first palette today is the e.l.f. Mini. I believe this is the, yes, it is the Pumpkin Pie. Let me reposition here. Sorry to shake you guys. It is the Pumpkin Pie Eyeshadow Bite Palette, and I absolutely love this one. I own, I believe, 4 of the bite-size eyeshadow palettes, and this one is my favorite out of all of them. I love the texture. I love the color payout. I'm really big into these sort of colors, especially gold and bronze. That's sort of my daily eye look if I were to wear eyeshadow every single day. But this one's my favorite, and the texture and the formula is just phenomenal on the Pumpkin Pie one. So that's my favorite e.l.f. palette I own. Next up, we have Huda Beauty Mauve Obsessions. I own a handful of the Obsession palettes, which are these square ones, which aren't as expensive as her normal big pan palette. So it's a good way to sort of test out her formula, although they might be different in this versus the big ones. But the Mauve Obsessions is my favorite. I also have the Warm Brown, and that was a contender with this one, but I love the different textures in this one versus the Warm Brown. I love that there's a bit more shimmers, not shimmers, but like satins. My only quip with this line is that it gets mega dirty. But yeah, I love this one. I'm not a big red eyeshadow wearer, and this one just takes me right out of my comfort zone when I wear it, and I love it. It looks phenomenal. So that is my vote for Huda Beauty. I own quite a bit of Tarte palettes, and this one happens to be my absolute favorite, Tarteist Pro To Go, which is interesting because I own quite a few, but I chose the cheapest, smallest palette they have because, to be honest, you guys, this has the best formula out of any of them. I can create so many different eye looks with these shades. It's weird because you look at it and it just looks kind of bland with a pop of red. No, when you get it on your eyes, it looks fantastic. It's really interesting how that works. I don't know if it's the background that kind of makes it look a little bit like less than in the palette, but when you get it on your eyes, this works so well. It blends phenomenally, if that's a word. I just really enjoy this. So if you can get your hands on this, I would hope that they'd make more of these because I would totally buy more in this line, to go line. My only quip, and I guess I'm going to add quips to almost all of these, you can barely read the shade names. Now that doesn't bother me, but when it's on a mirrored background, it's kind of hard to see the shade names for every shade. But other than that, I love it. And it comes with a mirror, which is great for travel. I've taken this on travel before, you know, everything in the world started happening, and it is a great palette for that. And I love this so much. This is my favorite Tarte palette. So just like with Tarte, I have a ton of Too Faced palettes, and this happens to be my favorite. Weirdly enough, this is Sparkling Pineapple. I really want to try the raspberry one, but I haven't been able to get my hands on it. The shades in here are gorgeous, and I don't know if they use a different formula with this versus their other palettes, but the payoff, the blending is great in this palette, and it smells fantastic. And you have a giant mirror right here. I really like this palette. I think someone thought it out very well and just executed it very well. So this is my favorite one out of all of mine, which I own a ton of Too Faced. Let's talk about some drugstore real quick. Milani. This one is my favorite Milani palette. I own about 4 different ones, but this is my absolute favorite. This is Earthly Elements and Everyday Eyes collection. I bought about 3 of the Everyday Eye collections, and I'd never expected this one to be my favorite. To be quite honest with you, I thought the other 2 might be, but when I used this one versus the other 2, this one just performed amazing. It's beautiful. The payoff is fantastic. It's just a great formula, and it really bums me out. I believe they're discontinuing this line, so if you can get your hands on it, run out and get it. I wish their new palettes had the formula of these eyeshadows. They don't, which is odd because these perform so well that it just makes me wonder, why would you discontinue this eyeshadow line? I mean, just use the same formula in your new palettes and I will buy all of them. But yeah, so this one's my favorite Milani palette. Violet Voss I own 3 of, so it wasn't that hard. Creme Brulee is my favorite. As you can tell, I love browns and golds. This works really well. I really like this eyeshadow palette. Obviously better than the other 2, but I think this one just performs better. And it's the Creme Brulee Fun Size. I really enjoy this one. My only quip with it is there's not a lot of ways to complete an eye look. This white is very, very white. So you have to reach into something else to get a shading blend unless you don't mind completely white eyeshadow to shade with. But yeah, this one's my favorite out of the 3 I own. ColourPop! I own a lot of ColourPop. And obviously I have mentioned this before. I did a whole dedicated video on this one. This one is the Mandalorian ColourPop palette. This might be my favorite collaboration palette they've ever done. This is one of the best palettes I own, which is saying a lot considering I have quite a few high-end palettes. If you like green, please go get this palette. They actually had it on sale a week or 2 ago, so it goes on sale. You don't need to spend I think it's like 13 bucks or 15, I might be wrong. You don't need to spend that amount on this. You can get it for sale, and it's the best green palette I've ever used. If you're even not totally into greens and you're like, what am I gonna do with the eyeshadow palette that's almost all greens? I promise you, you will be amazed at this palette and what you can do with it. I love this eyeshadow palette, and I think someone at ColourPop, whoever did this collab, deserves a raise, because when you're using it, you can tell that they actually sat down and thought about it and came up with a good formula and thought about what would work together. It wasn't just a mash grab for cash, you know? They didn't just throw colors in there, stick, you know, baby Grogu on the cover to make money. Granted, that's what they're doing with the collab, but this might be one of the best ColourPop palettes they've ever made. And I don't say that lightly. They've made like 100 palettes. I think if you don't already have this, please go get it. It is just fantastic. It is beautiful. Only quip, again, is that it kind of gets a little dirty. I can live with that because the shades are phenomenal. So one of my favorite palettes I own right now. Go get it from ColourPop. On to Maybelline. Maybelline Soda Pop. I wish they would come out with more in this line. They came out with one called the Lemonade before they came out with this one, the Soda Pop. I have not tried the Lemonade, so I don't know if it's as good. I've heard it's not as good. I've heard it's good, but not as nice as this one. This one is phenomenal and probably the best drugstore palette you can get. Like, actual drugstore, not counting like ColourPop, which I don't count as drugstore, even though the prices are about the same. This is amazing. The payoff is beautiful. The formula is beautiful. They actually thought it through. Some of the colors, like this cherry cola, if it'll focus, is phenomenal. There we go. Let's see if I can do the blue raspberry. I wish that they'd come out, look at that they'd come out with more palettes in this range. My other quip is I would love, if they ever do, let me swatch these real quick just to get them off my finger. Yeah, look at that. That's, I think, a swatch earlier. But yeah, look at that. That is just phenomenal. My only quip is if they ever do come out with a third palette in this range, which I hope they do, half these and put 4 additional shades in. We don't need 4 giant ones. I like Soda Fizz. I like it a lot. Every time I open this palette, that's the, look at that. That's what I use. but I don't need a huge container of it. So just half it and stick 4 additional shades and then keep these, and that way we'll have 4 more, and I'll pay more money for that. So yeah. So this is my favorite from Maybelline, and it's Soda Pop. Go out and get it. I know they still sell it. Yay. Lorac Pro. I never say it right. Lorac Mega Pro 4. It confuses me because Mega and then Pro and then 4, unless I'm saying it entirely wrong. This one's my favorite Lorac palette. I own quite a few of them. I mainly use this during spring and summer, which I don't know why I don't use it during fall and winter. I mean, you can use eyeshadow at any time, but there's this whole corner over here that's basically fall and winter colors. But I really like this. The payoff's nice. You do have to kind of build up these shades, but that's okay. I'm okay with building up shades. The color range is beautiful, and the formula is fantastic. Again, like some other palettes, they get quite dirty, if you can see around denim. I don't want to mess up the lighting, but denim is kind of dirty around there. So yeah, I really like this one. My other quip is it's huge, but it's a Mega Pro palette, so I knew what I was getting into. This one is my favorite Lorac. Go out and get it. Last but not least is my Urban Decay Born to Run. I do not own more than 3 Urban Decay palettes anymore. I have 2 right now. I used to have more, but I've had to get rid of some of them. But this is my all-time favorite palette of all time, which is redundant to say it like that, but this is my favorite palette of all time, and I just couldn't leave it off of a favorite palettes list. Mine, like I say every time I talk about it, didn't come with a magnet. Yay! You guys, if you don't have this palette, it's a life changer. I did not think this when I first got it. How wrong I was. This palette will change your life. You open it at first and you're like, what am I going to do with some of these colors? What am I going to do with this red and this pink and this red and this orange? And there's a slight pinky orange. What am I going to do? Oh, girl, you're going to do so much. Do not worry. This palette is phenomenal. So go out and get it. I know they make smaller ones to theme off of Born to Run. I think they're like train themed. I don't know how the quality works on those, and I don't even know if they sell those anymore. If the quality's somewhat good, which I would suggest, you know, finding them on YouTube and seeing reviews. If they're the same quality, but you don't want to invest in a big palette like this, buy one of those, try it out, and if you like it, then get this. This is the best palette I think I've ever used in the last, like, 3 years. This and the Mandalorian palette are up there. But yeah, so this is my favorite palette of all time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video of my favorite palettes from brands that I own 3 or more of. If you like what you saw, please hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and the thumbs up button. In the comments, let me know what your favorite palette out of all of these are. Let's just get talking. And I come out with videos every Friday, so I hope to see you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye.